make sure to like, subscribe. Also, can you please tell me from where and what time you are watching? It was supposed to be a Merry Christmas, just like the ones we always have. But that year changed everything. It started with a gift from a secret Santa I didn't know. What I didn't realize was that some traditions are far darker than we think. And when you open a gift meant for someone else, it could cost you everything. It all started at our annual office Christmas party, a tradition we all look forward to. The Secret Santa gift exchange. I didn't think much of it. Just a fun, lighthearted tradition where we exchanged silly little gifts. Everyone drew names from a hat. I ended up with Mark, the quiet, mysterious guy from accounting. He wasn't really someone I'd call a friend, but I didn't mind. He had a reputation for being a little strange. But hey, we all had that one weird coworker, right? I remember that afternoon sitting at my desk, checking my phone as I noticed a small, elegantly wrapped box sitting there. No note, no name. Just a small tag with my name, written in dark, elegant handwriting. Sarah. At first I thought it was a joke. I mean, a necklace? That wasn't typical. When I looked closer though, I saw it was no ordinary piece of jewelry. The pendant was unnervingly detailed, with intricate symbols carved into the metal. It was beautiful, but there was something off about it, like it didn't belong in this time, as if it had been crafted centuries ago. But the strangest thing? As soon as my fingers touched it, a chill ran up my spine. I felt a deep, uncomfortable sensation, like I was being watched. But no one was around. I shook it off, of course. It was just a gift, right? That night, I decided to wear the necklace. I don't know why I felt compelled to do it. Maybe because it was so beautiful. But as soon as the pendant touched my skin, I felt a tightness in my chest. The room felt colder, even though the heater was on full blast. I tried to fall asleep, but the whispers started. It began as a faint murmur, just out of reach of comprehension. I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me, but then it got louder. "Come closer, Sarah." I sat up, heart racing. My eyes darted around the dark room. No one was there. The whispers had stopped, but the fear hadn't. I tried to shake it off, convinced it was just a nightmare. But as I lay back down, I heard it again, only now it was clearer. "Sarah, it's time. Come closer." I shot up in bed, gasping for breath. The air was thick, heavy. I couldn't move. The room was too quiet now. The necklace around my neck seemed to pulse against my skin, almost as if it were alive. The whispers didn't stop. They seemed to come from all around me, from the closet, from the corners of the room, from under my bed. I got up to turn on the lights, but the room was already wrong. Everything felt warped. Suddenly I heard a noise, soft footsteps. I froze, holding my breath. Someone was in the room, but when I looked, there was nothing, just shadows. "It's time, Sarah. Come closer." The voice came again. It was louder now. Closer. I could feel the air growing colder with every word. I backed away from the bed, but the shadows in the corners of the room seemed to shift, like they were alive, watching me. The next morning, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. That damn necklace. It was always with me now, like a weight on my chest. I had to know what was happening. I scoured the internet, typing in the strange symbols on the pendant. That's when I found it. The necklace was tied to an ancient curse, a spirit that haunted those who wore it. The curse was passed through gifts, through Secret Santa exchanges. The spirit would claim the wearer once the necklace was put on, and its influence would slowly grow stronger, more invasive. The whispers were only the beginning. I felt my blood run cold. That's when I realized I had made a terrible mistake. Suddenly, the door slammed open with a violent crash. I jumped up, heart racing. The light flickered and dimmed. I turned toward the door. There, standing in the doorway, was a figure. It wasn't human. It was tall, hunched, with long, ragged limbs. Its skin was ashen, almost decayed, and its face, I couldn't see its face. It was covered in shadows with hollow, empty eyes staring right through me. It didn't speak. It just stood there motionless. But the whisper came again. louder than ever, echoing inside my head. "It's time, Sarah. Come to me." I couldn't move. My body was frozen. I could only watch as the figure slowly moved closer, its eyes boring into mine. And then it smiled. A wide, grotesque grin that stretched unnaturally across its face. Its teeth were yellow, jagged, and far too sharp. Sarah backs into a corner as the figure inches closer, her breathing quick and shallow. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. The room felt like it was closing in on me. The temperature had dropped to freezing. My breath fogged in the air. In a blind panic, I ripped the necklace off and threw it across the room. The instant the pendant left my skin, the figure screeched. It was deafening. The room shook violently, and I stumbled back, almost falling. The lights blinked out, and then everything went black. The next thing I remember was waking up on the floor of my apartment. My skin burned where the necklace had been, but the figure was gone. I didn't understand what had just happened, but I knew one thing for sure. The curse wasn't done with me. I haven't slept since that night. And every year when the holidays roll around, I feel its presence. The whispers at the edge of my hearing. The feeling that something's waiting for me, watching me. I never returned the necklace, but I think it's waiting for me to take it back. And the whispers, they're getting louder. Maybe one day someone will give it back to me. Story 2, the Christmas Eve break-in. Christmas is a time of joy, warmth, and safety. But what if, while you're cozied up inside, someone else is watching and waiting? It was Christmas Eve, and I was alone in my small apartment. My family lived out of town, and work kept me from visiting. But I didn't mind. The tree was up, the lights twinkled, and I had a steaming mug of hot chocolate in my hands. Outside, the snow fell gently, blanketing the world in a silent hush. The kind of silence that makes you feel cocooned, safe, or at least that's what I thought. I curled up on the couch under a soft blanket, the glow of the Christmas lights making everything feel peaceful. The warmth, the quiet, it was perfect. But that peace didn't last. Halfway through the cheesy Christmas movie I was watching, I heard it, a faint sound. Tap, tap, tap. I paused the movie, my heart giving a small, uneasy flutter. I listened. Nothing. Just the wind. I shook my head and laughed softly at myself. It's just a branch tapping the window, I thought. I started the movie again, but a few minutes later it came again. Tap, tap, tap. This time, it was deliberate, rhythmic, almost intentional. A chill crawled up my spine. I got up slowly, my feet sinking into the carpet as I crept toward the window. The curtains swayed slightly like something had disturbed it. I took a breath, my fingers trembling as I pulled the curtain aside. The snow-covered street stared back at me, empty and still. Just street lights and falling snow. I let out a shaky sigh of relief and turned back to the couch. But then, I saw it. A single wet footprint on the wooden floor by the window. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. My feet were dry. I hadn't been near the window. I leaned in closer, my stomach twisting into knots. There were 2 footprints. They were small, almost delicate, like they belonged to someone barefoot. They led away from the window, toward the hallway. Suddenly, every hair on my body stood on end. My mind raced. Had someone gotten inside? I grabbed my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed 911. My voice shook as I whispered, "I think someone's in my apartment." The operator's voice was calm. "Stay on the line. Lock yourself somewhere safe. Officers are on their way." I nodded, though no one could see me. My eyes darted to the hallway, a shadowy corridor leading to my bedroom. My legs felt like jelly, but I forced myself to move. I crept into my room, shut the door, and locked it. My heart pounded so loud I was sure whoever was inside could hear it. I slid under the bed, my phone clutched to my chest. The operator's voice was a distant murmur in my ear. Then through the silence I heard it, a creak, the sound of a footstep, just outside my bedroom door. I stopped breathing. My body went rigid. The doorknob twisted softly. Then, a whisper, low, cold, almost playful.
"I know you're in there.
My eyes welled with tears. My whole body shook. I squeezed the phone, trying not to make a sound. The doorknob stopped rattling, then came slow, deliberate footsteps, retreating down the hallway. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Minutes stretched into eternity. Then, a crash. The sound of glass shattering from the living room. He was getting out. The operator's voice pierced my panic. "The officers are arriving now." I heard a burst of voices and heavy footsteps. The police were here. I crawled out from under the bed, tears streaming down my face. They found the window smashed, a trail of wet footprints leading out into the snow. But what haunts me most is what they found on the windowsill, a small wrapped gift. No tag, no name. I unwrapped it with shaking hands. Inside was a photo of me, sitting on my couch, watching my movie. The photo was taken from outside the window. I moved out the next day. They never found him, never figured out how he got in or how long he'd been there. But every Christmas Eve since, I can't shake the feeling that someone's watching me. Every creak, every tap at the window sends me into a spiral of fear. And sometimes, just as I'm about to fall asleep, I hear a faint whisper in the dark. "I know you're in there." Story 3, The Secret Santa Stalker. We all love Secret Santa, the fun, the surprises. But sometimes the gift isn't the surprise, it's the person giving it. And that's when it stops being a game. I work at a mid-sized company, and every year we do a Secret Santa exchange. Last Christmas I joined in, excited to keep things light and fun. Everyone picked names out of a hat. But this year, I didn't get a name slip. I was told my gift would be a surprise. The first gift appeared on my desk 3 days before Christmas. A small bag with a cute snowman keychain and a note. "A little something to brighten your day." It was anonymous, but it made me smile. I figured it was just part of the game. The next day, another gift showed up. This one was different. A tiny old-fashioned mirror with a message scrawled on the back. "You look beautiful today." I felt a little weirded out, but I brushed it off. Maybe someone was just being extra friendly. Then on Christmas Eve, I found a third gift, a black scarf. But it wasn't new, it was mine. One I'd lost a month ago. A chill crawled up my spine. How did they have it? There was a note attached. "I liked this on you." My heart pounded. I scanned the office, but everyone looked normal. I tried to laugh it off, but my gut was telling me something was wrong. That night, as I was leaving the building, I noticed someone standing by my car in the dimly lit parking lot. A tall figure, their face hidden by a hood. I hesitated, then called out, "Hey, can I help you?" The figure turned and ran. My keys fell from my trembling hands, and I scrambled to get into my car. My breath fogged the windshield as I locked the doors. Just as I was about to drive away, I looked at the rearview mirror. A note is stuck to the back seat window. "You can't hide forever." I slammed the gas pedal, heart racing. I barely slept that night. The next morning, Christmas Day, I tried to forget about it. But when I opened my front door to get the morning paper, there was a small box on my porch. No wrapping, no tag. With shaking hands, I opened it. Inside was a photo of me, sleeping in my bed. I felt my blood turn to ice. I looked up, scanning the street. Empty. I called the police. They searched, but they never found out who left the gifts. Whoever it was, they knew everything about me. Where I worked, what I wore, and where I lived. I moved away, but I still don't feel safe. Every Christmas, I dread finding another gift, because I know they're still out there, and they haven't forgotten me.